Welcome back to Crypto Verdict, where we bring the new game show to you 2 times a week on Monday and on Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm the host, Crux, and I got 5 different gentlemen from all different walks of life. One person has their mic on right now, and that's cool, but we're going to bring you some really good questions, and this is how it works. Basically, I make a statement like, is the 4-year cycle still intact? And what you're going to do is you're going to put 1, 2, 3, or 4. Starting at strongly agree would be a 1. You would do 2 would be agree. 3 would be disagree, and then 4 would be strongly disagree. And no matter which platform that you are watching, whether it's my stream or maybe it's one of these other contestant streams, you're able to join the polling system. And from there, the overall idea is to get Crypto Future 99, Rob in the background, the crypto verdict. So he's going to come in at the end and say, this person was the best of the 5 contestants for performing throughout those 10 questions. And then they're going to get the floor to go ahead and give a brief take on what they feel like in the market. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and bring up these 5 contestants. All right, so we have Blackrue right there on the right side. We have ya boy Ski. We got Invest with Doc. We got Scott from Longview Compute, and lastly, Dave from the Node Network. Show some love in those comments, and let's go ahead and jump right into it. We got a good question for the first one. It's all about MicroStrategy. So MicroStrategy, they've been the gloomy part of this bear winter. There's been a couple times where they've shown their faces, and today was definitely one of those moments. So MicroStrategy will continue to dump all the approved $5 billion worth of Bitcoin. So let's go ahead and get your take first, Rue. What you got?
I'm going to say disagree.
All right, Rue disagrees. Ya boy Ski?
I would disagree, and I don't think it matters.
All right, Doc?
Gosh, misery loves company. I'm also going to disagree.
All right. Longview?
I'm going to go with agree.
All right. And lastly, we got Dave.
I'm going to go with strongly agree.
All right. So Dave's the only one with a strong opinion in either direction. Very interesting. So let's go ahead and put these 3 different people that disagree against Dave. Essentially, Dave, I want to hear why you strongly believe that MicroStrategy will continue to dump all of the approved $5 billion worth of their Bitcoin holdings.
Sure. Well, if I take a look at Saylor and his team's performance, buying and now selling Bitcoin, it looks like they have been some of the very worst traders of Bitcoin of all time. I mean, they're sitting on what? Greater than $10 billion in unrealized losses on the portfolio. He's been buying the top all the way up, and now he's pretty much selling the bottom. So I think it's going to be difficult for them to repeg Stretch with just $1.25 billion. And since he has proven himself to be such a phenomenal trader of Bitcoin, I really do think he's probably going to end up just dumping the bottom. So, it wouldn't surprise me if they end up bottom ticking the bottom and dumping that last yard of BTC probably when Bitcoin hits like 49K or something like that. So, yeah, I think he continues to sell. I think he sells the entire 5.
Interesting. So I'm also kind of acting as a fact checker, so I'm not going to give my opinion too much, and we all love fact checkers. So if you love a fact checker, smash that like button. Real quick, so Sailors, their average buy is between 70 and 75. So Dave, you actually hit the nail on the head on that one. Rue, let's go ahead and get your take real quick on why you disagree that he's not going to sell all of that.
I just think he's a veteran. He's been through a couple, bear cycles. Selling it all seems like a lot. I just don't think he's going to sell it all.
All right, Ski.
So I would agree that he's a terrible trader, and I think David made a good point. Like, he literally buys the top and sells the bottom. I just made a video about this earlier, and it's almost remarkable to be in crypto as long as he's been in crypto and have the average price that he does. Because literally, had you started in the top of 2021 and just bought the same amount every single time at 69K, your average price would be about $42,000. So it's remarkable that he's at 75K. That being said, I don't think he's going to sell the whole thing, and quite frankly, I don't think it matters if he does or not.
All right, and Doc, let's go ahead and get your take.
Yeah, I'm gonna pivot and say strongly disagree that he's selling all of this. And here's why. Right now, and David, you bring up some really good points about horrible timing, right? He kind of echoed some of that really poor timing. We just look at this from a rhythmic standpoint, and I will preface, I'm very biased. I've close to $200,000 in MSTR options open right now. But with that being said, MicroStrategy right now has sold approximately $323 million so far of Bitcoin. They have an allocation of 5, so right around 6% is what they've sold. Now, a lot of people, I don't see enough people talking about this. The business model is working exactly as it should in this sense. MicroStrategy buys Bitcoin when there is hype in the market. They quite literally use price appreciation and hype in the market to then sell MSTR with a positive NNAV to repurchase Bitcoin. And the reverse is also true. So it's not a bug. It is actually a feature that they dump as the price falls. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that is the soundest business plan or, strategy, pun intended. But what I will say is sentiment's poor, right? Sentiment was really poor when STRC fell down to the low 80s. I think it maybe got close to touching 80 or 79. With that being said, STRC right now is at $92, right? We are less than 10% away for us to be back at par. Combine that with the fact that now MicroStrategy has the runway to pay the dividend, right, for years at this point, and then also to continue to buy STRC. Now, I'll be the first to say that, yes, buying the top and selling the bottom has poor optics, right? And on a video that I did this morning, I also mentioned, not a huge fan of selling Bitcoin to fund purchases of STRC, right? I was there in Las Vegas when he said, never sell your Bitcoin. But with all of that being said, they've only spent 6% of this allocated earmarked funds, and STRC is already back at $92. I do not see any scenario where they burn through $1.2 billion of Bitcoin, regardless of if Bitcoin falls to the low 50s or high 40s.
All right. Those are some very good takes right there from you three. Scott, tell him why he's wrong.
Well, honestly, he's right about a lot of it. And that's the thing, is that I look at aligned incentives. He's already shown who he is and what he'll do. He said he's the guy, he was the guy standing on a soapbox, never sell your Bitcoin. Now he's saying, well, I said personally, from one, personal holder to another. They get paid off buying and selling Bitcoin in MicroStrategy. They get fees for buying and selling. They're going to do whatever is aligned with their pockets, period. If that means selling it all, they'll sell it all. Will that happen? I don't know. But I'm going to agree in the sense that they will if it served their purpose.
All right, Rob, can you go ahead and bring that poll up here? So quite a bit of people said 3. 3 would be disagree, actually. So the disagrees, the person under me, and then the 2 to my right, they won this one. But let's go ahead and just make a quick disclaimer here. We also accept super chats, and then the super chat will go to whoever's stream that the super chat comes from. And also the best super chat for a question we'll throw at number 11. So if you want to add a question to our panel, we have 10 different questions. That will go to the 11th question. So let's go ahead and jump into number 2. We got Bitcoin will be lower. Bitcoin will be lower in the next 60 days than it is now. So I brought up 60 days because I think, in October timeframe or so, the general consensus of a lot of people, especially the whales, think that's probably when the bottom's going to be. So I asked these people, will Bitcoin be lower in the next 60 days, which is about October 1st? Rue, what you got?
Strongly disagree.
Strongly disagree, says Rue.
Yeah.
All
Is there a 5?
So you strongly disagree.
I disagree as far as you can disagree.
Right. All right. My marker is running out. So what do you have, Invest?
Yeah, this will be fun. I strongly agree that Bitcoin will be lower in the next 60 days.
All right. Scott?
I agree. It'll be lower in the next 60 days.
Agree. And then lastly, Dave.
I strongly agree that it will be lower in the next 60 days by October.
So it's Scott and it's Dave, and then it is Rue and it's Ski. So you got two people.
It's Doc and Dave.
No,
I strongly agree that it will be lower.
Oh, I strongly disagree.
Right.
Okay, so the two to my right, they strongly disagree, and then Doc and then David both strongly agree. So it's kind of like 2 on 2. Scott, we'll have you step aside right here. Let's go ahead with Rue. You're the first one to give a take. Why do you strongly disagree?
Well, if you look at the weekly RSI, every 4 years it goes beyond the 30 mark. We hit that in February. It'd be kind of odd for it to be lower than, I guess, you're saying just lower than 63, which is where it's at right now. I think actually people are going to front run what's happening with the BTCC, and it'll actually be higher than it is right now. So that's it.
All right, Ski, what do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I could add a lot. I could spend the next 30 minutes going over this, but I'll try to keep it quick here. We just touched on a point, like who sold the bottom last time? Michael Saylor.
Michael Saylor, yep.
Yeah, he literally sold the average price of $16,766 December of 2022. He just sold a huge chunk in June at 57.7. He was like the literal wick low. And we haven't went lower. You could mention the bullish divergences on the daily chart. You could mention the bullish divergences on the weekly chart. You can mention that literally every single person thinks that the 4-year cycle is going to happen. So the idea that the apex predators and the institutions aren't going to front run that idea, I think is crazy. All of the fundamental data, all of the technical data, all of the on-chain data, you have the same amount of on-chain losses that we had back when Mt. Gox went to zero. We had the same on-chain losses that we had when FTX went to zero, which is 10.5 million coins held at a loss. We actually hit that June 21st, 2026. We actually hit 10.7 million coins held at a loss, meaning of all of the coins that will ever exist, 21 million, the magic number where we find a bottom 3 for 3 is 10.5. When we hit 10.5, that is capitulation. That's what it looks like. You could go with oil being in distribution, being in a bear market, silver being in distribution, being in a bear market, gold being in distribution, being in a bear market. The Rust is in a bull market. The S&P, the Dow Jones is all in a bull market. And I would say literally the only piece of data that you have that points to us going lower is sentiment, which is bullish, and 364 days. That's it.
Yeah, and if y'all haven't checked out his channel yet, he's a 7-year cyclist. Very interesting concept there. He actually threw some points at me. We did a 4-year cycle versus 7-year cycle. So make sure y'all check out that one. Doc, you strongly agree on this one. You do think that Bitcoin's going to be lower in the next 60 days, about October 1st. Why?
Yeah. Ski, you bring up some really good points. I love the on-chain indicators. And gosh, I'm going to have to check out this video with the 7-year cycle because that sounds super interesting. But I'm so glad that you mentioned a lot of these on-chain indicators. These are the same on-chain indicators that people said were going to fire last October when Bitcoin was 126,000 and they never fired. Yet the top was in. The other thing that I find rich is and I'm not necessarily saying you, Ski, because I see this all over Twitter, is people saying, Saylor bought the bot or sold the bottom, bought the top. Saylor, in my opinion, in a lot of ways, is becoming less and less important as we go. But with that being said, if we look at mid-election cycle years, which we are in right now, in 2022, we had an August, which was minus 15%, and a September, which was minus 2.5%. If we go down to 2018, we have an August that's minus 15% and a September, which is minus 5.5%. And then another mid-election cycle year in 2014, we have minus 18% and minus 20%. If you couple that with the fact that also average bear markets last approximately 52 to 54 weeks. We're currently at week roughly 43. So I honestly hope that and wish and pray that this was the bottom, right? Because I've been buying heavily at 57. But a lot of these on-chain indicators that folks mention, they didn't hit in October. And although indicators are useful. None of them are correct, right? There are multiple tools that we use in summation to form our thesis. So because of that, I think we will see a lower Bitcoin price in August and September.
All right, and if the poll is close, we'll get Dave's take real quick. If the poll is close, we'll definitely add some rebuttals to this. Dave, you want to add anything to Doc?
Sure. So, Doc, when you're buying that BTC, I hope you're not storing it in a cold card, brother. But hey, man, I know, right? So, look, whenever someone says this time it's going to be different, I don't think it's going to be any different this time. And so that means that we will see a Bitcoin bear market trough at some point in the beginning of October, some point in the beginning of Q4. When I zoom out and I take a look at BTC over the last couple of cycles, in 2017, that cycle and the 2021 cycle, we put in the same type of pattern on the way down. Now, the difference this cycle is those Bitcoin ETF products. Now, I think that they have had the effect of compressing Bitcoin's volatility. So I think that paradoxically, those ETF products are the reason why we didn't get a parabola on the upside this last bull. And I also think that's likely the reason why we won't get real depression on the downside. But I think the cycle will repeat. I think that in the beginning of October, we see a Bitcoin bear market trough, probably around those August 2024 lows, where we got that first unwind of the Japanese yen carry trade, maybe around 49K or so. And hey, if I take a look at the technical analysis for BTC on a weekly, it's put in so far 3 beautiful falling wedge patterns, very bullish, but that falling wedge has not yet confirmed. So I'm looking for a confirmation of the falling wedge. I'm looking for 49K to get tagged by the first week of October. I think that's the bear market trough, and then I think that we rally from there. So this time will not be any different than last time.
The famous words, "this time is different," has gotten a lot of people wrecked. But the polls, let's go ahead and jump up into these polls again. A 1 is if you strongly agree, 2 is agree, 3 is disagree, and then 4 is strongly disagree. Looks like 100%, maybe this is a little bit off, but 100% are saying strongly agree that the Bitcoin will be lower the next 60 days. So shout out whoever that person was, but we got to we got to go ahead and jump into this next question. Hey,
I got a rebuttal if we got time.
All right. I mean, 100% is not close to 50-50, but you're going to get your rebuttal. Let's make it happen. What you got?
All right. So I would just a question for Doc. When first, I have 2 things. So a question for Doc. You said the bear market is 45 weeks. When are you counting the bear market as starting?
I'm saying from peak to trough. And I didn't say 45. I said we're in roughly-ish low 40s, and an average bear market goes from 52 to 54 weeks.
Okay. All right, that was just a clarifying question, because I think that the bear market actually starts. I do Wyckoff is what I'm known for as far as the technicals. So the buying climax is well before the actual peak. An example would be in 2021. April was the actual buying climax, and then November, obviously, we put in an upthrust after distribution. But I would say to David's point, he says this time it's different. Well, one piece of data that I didn't say that has never been taken out from a technical perspective is the 300-week moving average. In every single bear market low, that is the lowest that you even wick to on a black swan even. And I would say in 2022, the data literally is different. So in 2022, we were in a global pandemic recession. We are not in that. Oil was going absolutely parabolic. We are not in that. The S&P 500 was in a bear market, not just crypto. The S&P 500 was in a bear market. The Russell was in a bear market. The Dow Jones was in a bear market. None of those things are happening right now. So, and it wasn't just FTX, Luna, Celsius, Voyager, BlockFi, and all of these major companies getting purged. It was Silicon Valley Bank going to zero. It was all of these fundamental things that were happening. And I know they changed the definition as to what a recession is, but by all accounts, 2 consecutive GDP quarters at a loss, that's what 2022 was. That's not what we have right now.
Do you think black swans are...
Yeah, you're good. No, you're good. You're the only one with the rebuttal. Dave, I know you want to chime in, but let's get it, Doc.
I was just going to say, do you think black swans are a bug or a feature? Because, right, nobody prices them in, but yet they happen on a repeatable occurrence. All
right. Well, the one person they voted, I just got word that the The only time you can vote is if the poll number or the poll is actually on screen. So at the end, we'll put that on screen. I'll explain it, and then we will get those votes. But that one person, you won it for today. Now let's go ahead and jump into this next question. It's about Solana. It's about XRP. 2029. A lot of people think the next bull market peak is going to be in 2029. So, Rue, the question is, Solana will overtake XRP by 2029. What do you have?
I'll strongly disagree.
All right, Ski.
Sorry, I keep muting myself, and it's I'm gonna be neutral and sit this one out and let you guys debate this one, because they're both in my portfolio and I like them both.
We'll just go with disagree. All right, Doc, what you got?
Ski, great minds think alike, because I didn't want to take a side on this one either. This is a great question. This is such a great question because I go back and forth on it. Max is going to hate me. I have a collab with him that's publishing tomorrow morning, but I am going to slightly agree that Solana overtakes XRP by 2029.
All right, Scott.
I strongly agree. I'll burn a bridge. It's going to take some people off. I'll strongly agree.
Dave, what you got?
Oh man, like, can I go above strongly agree? Like, super duper strongly agree? Like, yes, I strongly agree.
All right, so we have a couple people on the fence. We got Ski on the fence a little bit, Doc on the fence a little bit, but Scott and Dave, you guys are both strongly agree. Rue is strongly disagree. So it's time to see a Rue. They're trying to jump you, bro. Go ahead. Let's actually give them the first go. So let's go ahead and go with Dave first. Why do you strongly agree that Solana will overtake Ethereum or XRP by 2029?
Sure. So if I take a look at XRPL, the ledger, XRP ledger, and I look at the utility of XRP, the coin, on the XRP ledger, there is zero utility for that coin on the ledger. It's like some weak-ass gas token. And here's a problem, too. There is no value accrual mechanism for XRP holders. Now, if you had asked, if XRP was like equity in Ripple Labs, which it is not, well, that's a different question. But XRP, I think that XRP is, I think it's valueless. And I think that it has a $66 billion market cap for nothing. And when I take a look at Solana, although Solana has some problems with its tokenomics, I think that Solana is going to massively outperform XRP. And I think that Solana, actually has an opportunity to maybe even outperform Ethereum, potentially. We'll see. But I don't see any value in XRP, you guys. And I would love to hear someone make an argument in favor of XRP, because I don't see the value there at all.
So let me fact check real quick. During Thanksgiving, people aren't asking me about Solana. Maybe my Facebook DM is going to be about XRP, but I'm going to stay unbiased. Scott, what you have to add to Dave's take?
I think it's narrative shaped. Now, here's the thing. I completely agree with David on his tokenomics assessment. As far as XRP's value accrual principles, when you look at it versus revenue of what a chain is producing versus what's actually being taken to the token. I mean, I'm thinking I need to 8-mile this on Rue. I need to take away everything he's going to say in favor of XRP and against it off the bat. But I need to give him some room to talk. The issue is Solana is tokenizing a heck of a lot more in the XRPL. XRP and Ripple is starting to focus more attention on payments, and a lot of that payment activity is not even hitting the XRPL, let alone going to have the ability to drive utility to the token. Roughly less than 40% of the activity is actually on the XRPL. So the only value accrual we can actually look to for XRP is purely speculation. Whereas, even though I agree Solana has issues with their value accrual mechanisms as well, they're more directly plugged in to the narrative of tokenization moving forward, even more so than the great XRP army, because it's just not represented on chain.
All right, Rue, before you go, I have to fact check that. Eminem did in fact say, "I am white. I am a bum. I do live in the trailer with my mom. I do have a friend named Cheddar Bob who shot himself in the leg with his own gun." Rue, what you got?
Well, I am from Detroit, so
Hey.
I had to let that motherfucker go first. You know what I mean? So well, one thing, the big thing is, and I'm consistent with this as far as ZEBEC goes. I think anything that can get value from a stable coin and put it into their token is going to win. And Ripple has RLUSD. Solana doesn't have its own stable coin. So it's regulated, RLUSD. They're going to drive value from that. They have so many different things that can drive value from Ripple Treasury, RLUSD, agentic payments. And really, Solana's just kind of helping out Ethereum and XRP, because recently they kind of made like merging those networks. So really, Solana's just getting XRP and Ethereum sloppy seconds. So if you just look at the daily volumes, XRP daily volume, they always have tons and tons of volume. I know they don't get fees from that, but they do have the volume. So all they have to do is make a little bitty change and get some of that value from RLUSD over into XRP, along with Ripple Treasury, which is a flywheel, and I think they're good.
All right, so Rue just cooked. You're looking at 75% disagree. So, this is a little bit biased. We are on CoinVault with XRP Army is strong. So fair enough. Over time, we're going to see a lot of these different networks. No network, your community is going to join in. So give it time, and it's going to decentralize, and that's where we'll start winning. So that being said, Rue, you won this one. That said, we have 2 super chats that we have to get to. Just remember, if you guys super chat, you can also add an 11th question. So shout out Mermoa. Salute. Thank you for that super chat. We have one more. It is from that guy, and it talks about the black swans lurk like pterodactyls. So that's true. Like black swans, it's interesting because black swans are typically supposed to happen like once a lifetime or something. And like COVID's a black swan, or Japan carry trade's a black swan. Like in crypto, we just throw this word out there, and it has meaning apparently. So let's go ahead and jump into the 4th question. So we just talked about XRP. We also just talked about Solana. Now, this is going to be an interesting take. So most of us are fundamental analysts in a sense. We're content creators, all of us are, but understanding fundamentals is more important than technicals in crypto. So when we talk about 4-year cycles, you talk about a time-based, you're also talking about possibly a price-based. Now, what do you guys think? Is fundamentals more important than technicals? Rue, what you got?
That's a tough question. I think you need to understand it all. So I'll just take disagree.
All right, Ski.
I strongly disagree.
Ooh, okay. You want the smoke? Doc, what you got?
I'm going to strongly agree, but I'm going to play a technicality here in the sense that I think the question's regarding crypto in general, right? And not just Bitcoin.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So then I'm going to strongly agree.
Okay, Scott. Sorry, your face is covered up by the poll. We'll fix it next episode.
I'm used to it. From the long-term perspective, which is the lens I put everything through, I strongly agree.
Ooh, this one's gonna be good. Dave.
Oh, you already know. I strongly agree. I think that fundamentals are much more important than technicals when it comes to evaluating crypto assets.
All right, so Rue, we're gonna have you step aside. We got the 3 people at the end. They're trying to jump you too, Ski. You're gonna have to defend yourself. Let's go ahead and make them give the case first, and then Ski, we'll let you give the rebuttal to that case. But let's start with Dave first. Why do you strongly agree that fundamentals are more important than technicals in crypto?
Sure. So, I bought Bitcoin in 2012 for $40. I've been through a bunch of cycles, and I've seen coins and projects come and go. And now that, Mike and I have been running through all this deep dive research at the Node.pro every single day, we have seen so many different tokenomics models. And I got to say, you guys, like price, the technicals seem to reflect the tokenomics of the coin or protocol or chain or what have you. So most protocols, coins, chains have broken tokenomics, fundamentally broken. And I think that gets reflected in price. So whenever I take a look at the chart, the technical analysis of a digital asset, and I see down and to the right, or a lot of the time down only, especially when you price these digital assets in Bitcoin terms and not just in US dollar terms, I mean, that reflects the fundamental tokenomics of the project. So most projects don't meet our trifecta, which is really simple. It is you need real users and user growth. Those users need to drive real revenues, and those revenues need to accrue to you, the token holder, in some way. And I would say that the vast majority of protocols just fail. Now, the ones that succeed, we see number go up over time. So I'm going to go with fundamentals all day.
All right, Scott.
I mean, I'm going to echo a lot of what he just said. There's no secret. Me and David are very similar in alignment when it comes to value accrual to the token and what we talk about in our channels. But I do think technical analysis definitely has its place on the short term. But when you fundamentally analyze most tokens, not all, but most tokens, like he's saying, you can see a supply-driven pump pattern, and that's why a majority of altcoins never hit their all-time highs again after their first bull cycle. So now, granted, technical analysis is important for identifying that, but if you're identifying something over the long term, you fundamentally need to analyze how a token is going to gain value or become more scarce over time to create value capture.
All right, Doc.
Yeah, I'll keep this relatively short and sweet. I've said numerous times, I think a lot of us operate, or rather a lot of these tokens operate in the sense that there is an economy of attention, right? If projects get a lot of eyeballs, they tend to run. Now, if this question were phrased top 20, I think Ski and I would probably agree on this, right? Because I think there is a strong technical analysis argument to be made on a lot of these big blue chip cryptos, right? The Bitcoins, the ETH, the Solanas, the XRPs, the Hypes, the Suis, the Caspas, all of these. But I still remember Polkadot in 2021 going from $5 to $54 just based off hype and narrative, right? So tough question, a good question. But because it's crypto, I would say there is a hype or an economy of attention. So that's why I'm going to say fundamentals. And I echo what the two gentlemen before me had mentioned.
All right, Ski, you have it out for you, but let me talk to the chat real quick. I see a lot of people putting those 1s and 2s in there. They haven't even heard Ski's, point yet. So what I would encourage you to do is just stop, think and listen. And just allow people to possibly push you in a specific direction. You have to be open-minded in crypto. So Ski, so basically from Ski's perspective, he's saying the technicals is more important than the fundamentals. This means price action is more important than more or less like news. Ski, what you got?
Okay, so let me give a couple caveats just for accuracy for audience of maybe someone who's new to crypto or whatever the case may be. I do think that fundamentals are important. I'm not saying that they're not important. But I think as far as price action goes, of what if the price goes up, if the price goes down, fundamentals are more, you see a bigger effect 2-3 years down the road, or on a longer scale. That's when it becomes more important. And then I would just say, like you said, news. You like literally teed me off here. I have a whole chart that I've showed 1,000 times on my channel, and I would be happy to like share it on Twitter or something so you could share it. But it's literally called Trade the News and You Will Lose. And I've outlined all of the biggest events in crypto over the last 5 years, and I'll just rattle through them. So Elon goes on SNL at the local top. The spot futures Bitcoin ETF gets approved at the top. Luna goes to zero at the local bottom. FTX goes to zero at the bottom. Silicon Valley Bank goes to zero at the local bottom. World War III starts for the 17th time. Again, the same war again at the local bottom. 9/11, the worst 9/11 in history, in American history, 2023. Bitcoin ETF gets approved at the local top. Germany, Mt. Gox sells their Bitcoin at the local bottom. Japan rate cut fiasco at the local bottom. USA sells their Bitcoin at the local bottom. The tariff war starts at the local bottom. And then again, World War III starts again at the local bottom. SpaceX IPO at the local bottom.
Yeah, let me cut you off. So these are all macro events or fundamental events, I would say. Not technical. Like technical is like Bitcoin.
Right.
Just hit
I'm
54.
arguing though. Yeah,
There's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
irony in there, is what he's saying.
I'm saying that
okay.
what
Yeah.
the event that takes place,
Mhm.
you would be led to believe that it's all the scary events. You would think that we're going to go lower and they're bottoms, and the bullish events you would think we're going to go higher and they're tops.
Mhm.
And I've
So,
just
like,
seen it. Go ahead.
What you got?
I didn't
Doc?
mean to cut you off. No, I didn't mean to cut you off, Ski. My bad.
Okay. Ski.
Well, just doing this for a long time, and I did an interview with a shout out to Tatiana. She's not even really a content creator. She's just an analyst for a hedge fund. And she just started making videos. Shout out to her. I just did a podcast with her, and her and I agree on this. It's like when you do the charts long enough, you'll see like structures, and it's like, man, something needs to happen here, and then boom, like a story will just pop up out of nowhere.
All right. Well, those are some good takes. Nobody said disagree or strongly disagree. So, I mean, the shows like this, since we're not bringing up charts, it's going to be hard to win over the technical crowd. Crypto, in a sense, a lot of people do just gravitate towards the fundamentals, especially if we're doing deep dives and stuff. So, I think the general consensus of all of us is they're both important, but maybe one's a little more important than the other. So, good takes, everybody. Now, let's go ahead and shoot it over to the super chat. You want to go ahead and throw that up on the screen. All right, Muhammad. If fundamentals really matter, ICP, oh, here we go, will be at the top 3 and everything else will go to, oh my gosh.
So this is from my channel. I'm going to donate this super chat to the show for you guys. Muhammad is one of my day ones. This dude comments on every video. He's in every live stream. I'm not going to comment on the super chat, but appreciate you being here, Muhammad.
Yeah, and I got one golden rule in crypto. If somebody cannot explain a project better than you, they have no right to tell you to buy or to sell it. So, Muhammad, if you understand ICP better than all of us up here, then don't let us, fudge your bags or anything. The canisters, there's a lot of good things going for ICP. I don't know about a top 3. Maybe other people would disagree, but thank you for that super chat. Now,
Muhammad, a rock star.
Thank you, Muhammad. All right, so the moment of the show everybody is about to start probably liking. So this 5th question is going to be something just fun. So we know Michael Jordan, we know LeBron James. This statement is Michael Jordan is a better basketball player than LeBron James. Rue, what you got?
Strongly agree. Strongly agree.
All right, strongly agree. Ski, what you got?
Strongly disagree.
Strongly disagree. All right, we got some smoke going. Doc?
Agree on steroids. The strongest agree that there is.
All right, strongly agree. That's like number... All right. Yeah, Scott.
Strongly agree.
Oh, man. Okay, and then Dave?
Oh, dude, I got to go with strongly agree.
Okay, so we got 4 people that strongly agree. Jordan is better than James. Ski, we will see. LeBron James, I mean, he's a beast. What you got, Ski?
All right, let me just nerf it in the butt before all you guys say it. I'm going to take away all your ammunition right now.
You're taking the Eminem approach. 8 Mile. Let's get it.
I'm going to steel man you right now. So before you say 6 for 6, because that's what you guys are all going to say, 6 for 6. Let me ask you guys a question. Is 8 for 8 better than 6 for 6?
8 for 8 would be better than 6 for 6.
You think, everybody agree that 8 for 8 is better than 6 for 6?
We need context. What's the context?
8 championships out of 8 finals appearances. Is that better than 6 for 6?
Yes.
Okay, so my man John Halkovich went 8 for 8, 26,000 points, more wins, more rebounds, more all-stars, more assists, more steals than Michael Jordan. So if 6 for 6 isn't the best metric, and if I'm not even going to go with Bill Russell. I'm not even go with
10
Bill
rings.
Russell.
Or 11?
Yeah, we're not even go with that because my man played in his same era. Michael Jordan never 0 wins in the playoffs. Not a series. I'm talking about a game. 0 wins in the playoffs without Scottie P. How many winning seasons did Michael Jordan have without Scottie P? 0. How many times did he get swept in the playoffs without Scottie P? 3 times. Get the brooms out. 0 wins in the playoffs. 0 winning seasons in the playoffs without Scottie Pippen. If you want to say 6 for 6, If championships is the measure, then that makes Bill Russell the GOAT. If
All
it's 6 for 6 is the GOAT, then it's John. But anything else, if you want to go on stats, character, the better person, more points, more assists, more rebounds, size, speed, there is literally nothing that Jordan is better at than LeBron. He's not a better free throw shooter. He's not a better 3-point shooter. He's not a better dunker. He's not stronger. He's not bigger. He's not a better defender. He cannot guard 1 through 5. He doesn't make. No, he doesn't. He played in the 80s when they were smoking crack. Half the league was
I got stats. I'm ready.
All right. Talk about, each person gets 1 minute. So starting with Rue, you get 1 minute. Go.
Did we just say that LeBron James is a better dunker than Michael Jordan? Like, come on now. Let's get on.
I said what I said. I didn't stutter.
Let's get out of here with that. LeBron's not even the best player in this era. You could probably say like Steph Curry's better than him. Magic Johnson's better than him. Like, there's no way LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. Like, Michael Jordan had to beat my Detroit Pistons, Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Dennis Rodman, right? Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. Who did LeBron beat? Like, Steph Curry, barely once with Kyrie Irving, right?
Oh,
like,
right.
And he hold on.
You got a couple more seconds.
He had to have like superstars help him out, like Kyrie Irving, Dwayne Wade. Michael just had Scotty. I mean, Scotty's great in his own right, but come on, LeBron couldn't do it on his own. If
Dennis Rodman. There was some Doc. What we got?
Come on.
So I'm glad you mentioned stats, right? Because you're right. 6-0, 6-0, never needed a game 7 versus LeBron James 4-6. But I came with receipts. Championships, MJ 6, LeBron 4. Finals MVP, MJ 6, LeBron 4. MJ won it every time that he was in the finals. Regular season MVPs, 4 versus 5. Scoring titles, 10 versus 1. Career points per game, 30 versus 26. Playoff points per game, 33 versus 28. Defensive player of the year. You had mentioned he can't play defense. MJ has 1, LeBron has 0. All defensive first team selections, 9 for MJ, 5 for LeBron. Career steals per game, 2.3 versus 1.5. Player efficiency rating, which is the most important rating that nobody talks about, 28 to 26.7. This is the easiest debate.
All right, Scott.
I'm going to keep this real simple because maybe it's just I'm old school and there's an it factor when you watch a game. If you ever saw Michael Jordan play an actual game and LeBron doesn't take over a game like Jordan did. Jordan would literally take over the game, say, he has the Patrick Mahomes effect. For those of you who watch Patrick Mahomes when he just kind of comes on the field and says, I'm winning this, we're not losing this game, and then does it, Jordan did that. Probably one of the greatest clutch players of all time.
All right. And then Dave.
Hey, what do I need to say that hasn't already been said by the two gentlemen just before me here? And of course, Mr. Rue, like, dude, there is no way that you could possibly say that LeBron James is a better or more dominant player than Michael Jordan, man. Look, if you're building a franchise for, years and years of elite relevance, maybe you pick LeBron. But if you are talking about who was the GOAT, dude, it was Jordan. And it's not even close. Look at the rings, man. It's about results. And Jordan drove results. So that's all I got to say. Enough said.
All right. Basically, everybody strongly agreed. Now, to Ski's defense, I would actually say LeBron. It's not about me. I think there's a lot of things where, how do you stop Wemby, for example? Like, who was Jordan versing that is comparable to some of these players now? There's some good players, of course, but there's a different era. It's a different game of ball. Nobody's winning like those type of numbers anymore. It's too competitive. Like random New York Knicks or OKC, like these are teams nobody even really heard about in the past 10 years, and they're starting to win championships. So it's super competitive now. But that being said, let's go ahead and move back into crypto, just so we don't lose too much of this momentum. We have building the Robinhood chain. That is building momentum, and it will become the big winner for the meme coins in this cycle. So we know Solana, Pump.Fun. We know really every chain from like Pepe's of Ethereum, Sheeb, for example, even Dogecoin. All these chains have all these different meme coins. Robinhood's a big bad wolf. Is that true, Rue?
The question is, Robinhood will become the biggest for memes. Yes, I strongly agree.
Wow. Okay. What we got, Ski?
I'm gonna disagree.
All right, Doc.
Strongly disagree.
Strongly disagree. Scott.
I am gonna bow out of this one. I don't have enough subject matter on meme coins.
All right, we'll just go with agree to cancel off Skis, and then Dave.
I strongly disagree. I do not think that Robinhood chain will become the biggest winner for meme coins this cycle.
All right, so it's really a 3-person debate with Doc and Dave on the same team. And Rue, again, they're trying to jump you, man. Let's go ahead and put, let's go ahead and give Rue's take. Why is Robinhood chain finna come through and take it for the memes?
Wow, this stat from Artemis, where Robinhood chain is the fastest EVM chain to 100 million transactions. And it's not even close. It's 147 million to base's 20 million. Like, it's not even close. And most people have a Robinhood account, so they're pulling from all of these stock people, right? So it's far and away going to be the winner for memes this cycle, because they're pulling from all the stock people that Robinhood has. Okay,
now for context, we have to throw it out there with TPS on like main networks. I don't think none of them are really doing that much on a main network without test conditions, but we know it's very fast. Since it's part of Arbitrum. So Arbitrum's fast. It's up there with the fast scaling solutions. Doc, what do you have?
Yeah, Rue, you bring up a lot of really good points. I think the Robinhood connection is big. Surely they have the momentum right now. I did some arithmetic. So within the last 24 hours between perp and DEX volume, Robinhood chain has approximately $375 million. Okay. Last 24 hours on DEX and perp volume for Solana, $2 billion, over 5 times the amount of volume. And the other thing that I will notice is that I'll mention is Solana has spikes where their DEX volume is $5 or $6 billion per day. This is all according to DeFi Llama. So I think that Robinhood is surely going to be big, right? I know a lot of teams who are building very, very strong projects and memes on Robinhood, but we are all creatures of habit. Everybody knows Solana as not only the meme chain, but a lot of strong projects. And I think the volume speaks for itself.
All right. That's a lot there, Dave.
Sure. So, I don't know if you guys ever bought NFTs back in the day, but all those people who bought those pictures of rocks for 100 ETH, I'm sure that they're not feeling too good. And I remember what it was like at the beginning of the base chain cycle, right? That was back in 2023. Base chain launched in August of 2023. And over the next 12 months, there were a bunch of meme coins that popped off on base chain. Kind of sort of like what we're seeing right now on Robinhood. So even though Robinhood has all this hype behind it right now, as Doc said, Solana blows it out of the water when it comes to the actual numbers, okay? And I think that, if and until Solana actually gets some real RWA adoption, it's going to continue to be the meme coin casino with Pump.Fun. So yeah, there's a lot of hype on Robinhood chain right now, but will it become the biggest winner for meme coins this cycle? And I'm assuming, Crux, that when you say this cycle, you mean into 2029? Oh man, I really don't think so. And also, I don't think that meme coins are a net positive for our space. I really don't.
Oh man,
because
we got
I
to
don't
stop
think
it right here. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and explain that last part real quick, and then we'll.
Sure. So imagine you're someone who's new to crypto, right? And you enter the space by buying, I don't know, what was the one that was down like 80% today? What was it called? Like Kate coin, Cat E coin. So, how is it that we can onboard new users into crypto, Web3, DeFi, the digital asset space, if the most people are being onboarded into a casino and losing all their money? That doesn't exactly mean that you want to come back, right?
Yeah. So if people understand it is super speculative. You had like that SanDisk stock that just tanked like what 50% in the past 2 weeks or so. But with crypto in general, like I made like 7 figures in half a year.
Yeah,
so
but
like
you gave it
the
back,
entire
Crux.
space,
You didn't keep
700K
it.
of it, 700K. So about half of it I lost, which I always bring that up. But I think that's super important because it's like, if you're messing with risky stuff, then like I could have had in Bitcoin, I'm not going to make that much. I'm not going to lose that much. But it's the fact that I believed in something, or I found something to put my money into, and it either plays out or it doesn't. So I'm not going to get too long with it here. Again, I'm not a participant, but very interesting takes here. Let's go ahead and jump into the polls of it. So we have about, this is actually the closest one so far. Half the people, a little bit over, agree with this one. So Robinhood Chain will become the biggest winner of this cycle. And then about 40% actually think that so most likely Solana is probably what most people think is going to retain that one. So very interesting. Rob, you want to go ahead and reset this? We have a super chat that just came in, and it is from Muhammad again. So anybody like Uniswap? All right, this one's a little cooler. Muhammad, thank you for bringing this one. I like Uniswap. What are y'all's takes on Uniswap?
Love Uniswap. Did a video on it a couple days ago. I think this has a huge narrative. I think Pantera Capital or somebody had this wild price prediction. Maybe a bold take. I think this is like the easiest 5x in crypto.
Okay. Now I would say this with the perp dexes, man, like Aster, Lighter, Hyperliquid, even Avant, like we're starting to see some pretty crazy potential in some of these networks, and Uniswap's not set up yet. They're going to have to figure that out, in my opinion. Even Aerodrome, you're going to have these perp dexes add leverage to be able to compete with these big dogs. But again, I do like Uniswap. So anybody else have?
I have something to say about Uniswap. So it would go back to actually Ethereum, back to the technicals. So Ethereum measured in Bitcoin, it looks like it's about to, over a longer period of time, really, really outperform Bitcoin. And I think actually all of 2025 is what I would call just a retrace rally. And if you were to think about that, think about XRP in 2017, XRP in 2021, and then XRP in 2025. So that 2021 is what I would call a retrace rally. So when you look at Ethereum measured in Bitcoin, all of 2024, 2025 was kind of that retrace rally. And I think it's going to go parabolic measured in Bitcoin. And then it's going to be a case of rising tides floats all ships. So Uniswap is going to be a secondary beneficiary of Ethereum really, really outperforming Bitcoin.
Also has that first mover advantage as well.
Yeah, see Dave shaking his head. What you got, Dave?
Okay, so you guys, I was a professional LP for this entire past bull. I built a multiple 7-figure coaching business, and I got to say, I was wrong about liquidity provision. And the thing that changed for me, and I was mostly on Uniswap, by the way, the thing that changed for me was in October of last year when Gemini 3 came out. So I was a professional options trader before I got into liquidity provision. When you provide either full range or concentrated liquidity, you're essentially short a put. You are short gamma and you're long delta. You're also short vega. So those are your Greeks, okay? Those are the 3 important Greeks when you're going ahead and trying to price your LPs. The big problem for liquidity provision in general is that compared to just holding the asset spot, dude, 99% of pools out there are not profitable. And also, you don't have a statistical edge because the tokens in the pool are what I like to refer to as, quote, dumb. They don't know the price. Those tokens in the pool don't know the price for the same tokens external to the pool. And so what that means is the volatility for the tokens in the pool is lower than it is for those same tokens external to the pool. So what that means is you don't have positive variance risk premium. That means you don't have an edge. So it's a losing game to provide liquidity. Now here is where you can actually get to break even and be profitable as an LP. Your fees, that's your theta, okay? Your fees must be greater than your cost of volatility. That's your impermanent loss. That's your gamma. If your theta, your fees, is greater than your gamma, your IL, then instantaneously you're profitable. Over a long period of time, though, since you don't have a statistical edge, you're likely to lose as an LP, especially when you compare it to just holding. It's a losing game. And now that Uniswap has this fee switch, and we've seen the Uni token rally from like $2 to $4 the other day, I think that that's just a bear market counter trend rally for the Uni token, and I think that it gives that back, because that fee switch is a huge net negative for V2 and V3 LPs, and a huge net negative for anyone trading assets using V4 pools. So I think that we're going to see capital migrate out of Uniswap pools. And if we ever get some details about the new Aerodrome decks, maybe it'll flow into Aerodrome. Here's another way that you win as an LP, a way that you can win. Honestly, you guys, meme coin pools. Because in the meme coin pools, you can get a ton of volume. A ton of volume in a pool means really, really high theta, high fees. And so as long as the tokens in the pool don't move a lot, meaning you have little or negligible impermanent loss, less gamma risk, if you've got a ton of volume, then you can really make a killing in meme coin pools. When Trump launched his Trump coin, he launched it on a Friday. That Saturday morning, the next day, I went in size in an Orca pool. I was like 90% of one of the pools on Orca. And I did extremely well for 6 hours. And I exited. I got out. So that's what you got to do with these pools. If you're looking to be profitable as an LP, it's very, very difficult. So yeah, no, I think that liquidity provision it is not what people make it out to be. It is not a way that you can earn passive income. It's simply not. And the vast majority of LPs lose.
All right. Well, that very extended take. I think, Mohammed, your general take is most people here, they think Uniswap has a good amount of potential to make you a good ROI in the next bull market. But understanding that is very important. Again, if they cannot explain it better than you, they should not be telling you to buy or to sell. So let's go ahead and jump into the very next question, which is Canton. So make sure Scott's face is not covered up on this one. Canton will overtake XLM by 2029. Give a little general context right here. There's only a $1 billion market cap difference currently. So XLM, it's in the lead with the bill. That can possibly happen by the end of maybe the month. I don't know. But the question is, Canton will overtake XLM by 2029. Rue, what you got?
I'll just agree.
All right, Ski.
I don't know enough about Canton to have an opinion, so I would disagree.
Okay, you're definitely in the right place to learn from the right people on this one. So, all right, Doc.
Ski, I was in the same place about a week ago. I did a collab with Scott. I'm on the bandwagon. I do think Canton will overtake XLM. I agree.
All right. Scott?
Strongly agree.
All right. And then David?
Oh, I have to strongly agree that CC will overtake XLM.
Sure. All right. So we got two people that strongly agree. We got Scott. We got Dave. Who wants to teach your boy Ski a little bit about Canton? Okay. Let's have. All right,
Scott, that's you for sure. Scott,
yeah,
that's you.
Scott, right. I mean, you're becoming the face of Canton on YouTube.
So let's look at it this way. How is it going to outperform XLM? I'm going to start with the tokenomics, right? XLM just has a burn feature and speculation, right? It burned a very, very tiny amount of XLM. I believe it's 0.0001, or there's another zero in there. I'm not sure. Per transaction. So the only way XLM is moving is off of fee burn, which isn't going to move it, or speculation. Can we all agree on that assessment of XLM?
It's a peer-to-peer network, and yes, the burn is mainly the use case is mainly hit with burning for that.
Right, but it's a minuscule amount of burn that's not going to affect the price because they burned half of the supply of XLM and it did nothing to the price. So, I mean, we can agree that the burning's not doing anything for XLM as it stands right now. It's only going to move off speculation and pump based off history, whereas tokenomics on Canton are different. So as fees get generated, CC is burned, right? It has to be burned. You must pay. Now, some will point out the subnets, but the mainnet extension is going to be rolling out in the first half of 2027 per the CEO, Yuval Ruse, and Shal Kafir, who's actually going to come on the channel here next month. Now, moving on, we also have the halving in 2029. It's going to drop it down to $5 billion. We also have the DTCC that's rolling out in October, We also have the Japanese bond market in the repo that are attached to those private subnets, as well as HSBC and the European bond market with the London Stock Exchange attached to those subnets. None of those are burning CC. Over 9 trillion currently right now are not burning CC. That'll start in the mainnet extension the first half of 2027. Plus the emissions for Canton are halved in 2029, dropping it from 10 billion to 5 billion. So we're cutting the inflation in half. At the same time, we're ramping up the mint. And none of that is even going to be Canton's most lucrative use case. It's going to be a institutional treasury management fund for big banks, institutions, and businesses, not to mention the footprint they're starting to get into with private credit that no one's even talking about as well. So again, the biggest use case between now and 29 for Canton isn't even on people's radar yet.
All right, good takes. Dave, what you got?
Can I give a hot take here, Crux, about Stellar real quick?
Hey, you've been giving hot takes for the past 20 minutes.
Let me give you some fire, man.
Yeah, let's get it.
Look, dude, we have reviewed so many protocols and projects at the Node.pro in our Intel library. I think that XLM could go to zero. I think that they could fail to be able to pay validators to secure the network. I don't think that they're ever going to be able to launch anything with that DTCC on Stellar. And just like XRP, I think that it probably should go to zero. I think that what needs to happen is all of these Fugazi projects in crypto, they need to go the way of the dinosaur so that the stuff with real value can come to the fore. That's Canton, man. Canton is real value. So yeah, will CC overtake XLM? Yes. And I think XLM should go to zero.
Interesting. Rue, I know you only chose to agree, but I see you over there just like that new take. It wants to throw you in here. What you got, Rue?
Go to zero is really strong when you see that they did talk to the DTCC. I know you've always like, okay, we don't even know what Stellar is going to do with the DTCC, but there were talks there. Go to zero is really strong. Like I can see if we're talking about like Dogwood Hat or some type of meme coin like that, but Stellar, go to zero.
I mean, they're officially partnered with the DTCC.
That. I'm sorry.
They are partnered with the DTCC. Excellent.
I know, that's what I was saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But,
so
but you've always like we haven't had confirmation on what they're doing yet. That's from Yuval's words here. But again, but they are partnered.
2027 Stellar.
Right. But they are partnered with them. So go to zero is really strong. You know,
it's a strong
language.
But he was just saying it deserves to. I
don't know that it, but see that's where it's like real strong. Like
for sure.
I don't know that it deserves to because they've done things in like Africa. They have partnerships with MoneyGram. Like there's real things there, right? And I'm not just saying that because they're partnered with ZEBEC. I mean, I'm just saying that because there's real stuff there, right? But
yeah, I'm loving it. By the way, like these debates are good. People are learning from like some of the best content that you can see on YouTube. So let's check out these polls real quick. We're sitting about 80.
I was gonna.
Oh, you're good. Go ahead.
Give my 2 cents here because you guys tried to convince me that Canton is better than XLM, and I'm be honest, like nothing that anybody said convinced me. David said it's better, but he didn't say why. And then Scott says tokenomics, halvings, and then a lot of promises, but what have they actually done? So first of all, I'm going to stay on the halving because I'm an OG miner, and I can tell you the only halving that matters is Bitcoin because I've been in Flux. I've been in all these other halvings. The halving does not affect the price outside of Bitcoin. That is it. I mean, until that changes, that's the only one that matters. And then as far as tokenomics go, I was looking it up while you guys were talking. Canton has an unlimited supply and the delusion. So if you compare the market cap versus FDV, the market cap of Canton right now is 4.53 billion, but the fully diluted market cap is so no, never mind. Okay, you got me there, but it has an unlimited supply, whereas XLM only has the 50 billion and most of it is already in circulation. So in fact, and half of it is burned. So almost 70% of it's in circulation. So I don't know that I would say that the tokenomics is better when you have an unlimited supply.
All right, hey Scott, I know Dave, you want to answer, but Scott,
No, I
saw
want to
he's-
hear what Scott has to say.
Yeah, he's taking some DPS on this one.
Well, first off, from the XLM perspective, they cut it from 100 billion to 50 billion. So your burn is already in there. Now, when it comes to Canton, who is the #1 chain in revenue monthly?
Tether
Any
and Circle.
guesses?
Canton.
Tether,
Canton
Circle,
network.
Canton.
It-
Not even
Tether-
close.
Tether, Circle, Canton.
Non-stable coin chain, Canton.
Right. I'll give it to you.
The only non-stable coin chain that no one does more fees than Canton. Not Hyperliquid, not Tron. Let's put it this way. In its existence, Ethereum in its entire lifetime has burned 3.5% of its issued supply. Canton has burned 9%. So if you look at it in the grand scale of things as far as burns versus emissions and revenue, it dominates Solana. It dominates Ethereum. And yes, it has an infinite supply, but that creates the burn to mint equilibrium. They are burning tokens at a rate. And again, most of that, your promises, that's fine. I'll take promises of more burn over no statement whatsoever of how my token is going to gain value. That is XLM.
Oh, okay.
No statement from anyone will tell you how XLM will gain value. Whereas at least you have a working model that you can point to, and it's being outlined by the S&P 18 and Grayscale, as well as other institutional players focusing on revenue and burns and buybacks, not hopes, wishes, and promises that a token's going to do better when the blockchain does better.
All right, so that question was definitely teed up for you, Scott. Now, I think from the general consensus, most of us are pushing Canton, including the polls. So 80%, 4 to 5 people think that Canton will overtake that $1 billion lost right now in terms of the overall market cap. It's like $5 billion to $6 billion by 2029. So, Ski, we got.
If I could just say something real quick. So one thing that's really important to me. So again, I didn't know a lot about Canton, so I was just kind of taking notes real quick as you guys were saying everything, and I was just trying to fact checking. So the fact that you told me that they are generating more revenue than hype makes me very interested, because that, to me, whatever you're generating is the life force of a project. You think about like the fundamentals of stock market. It's like the earnings is one of the most important things. So it has me interested in looking, because when I first looked at it, I thought that the FDV and market cap was different. But if they're really making more money than hype and Ethereum, then it definitely has me interested in that as well. So I'll take a look.
Awesome.
Revenue is king, baby. Revenue cycle coming up.
Yeah. All right. What's also coming up is a super chat. So we have another exit flip. All right. Do you think ZEBEC could become global payroll infrastructure like Stripe or ADP? Also, ZEBEC is partnered with ADP. Just for context, quietly powering payments behind the scenes. Just so for my quick take, again, ZEBEC is already partnered with ADP, which is one of the biggest payroll providers in the world. And yeah, of course, so they have cards that are partnered with Stripe. So I think, yeah, that would be my take. Does anybody else want to give a take on ZEBEC?
Sure. There's also the note that Stripe partly funds Stellar, and Stellar is a partner of ZEBEC. So yeah, definitely ZEBEC has the potential to do that. I think they're going to really bank the unbanked. I got into a show about that with Doc here on a couple days ago. So check me and Doc's channel for that. But yeah, I definitely think they'll be a global payroll infrastructure. They have deals with Stellar and with Ripple. So,
all right. And for the sake of time, let's go ahead and speed this thing up. Let's go ahead and jump into the next question, question number 8. This is a very interesting question. One of the top 5 cryptos by 2035 has not yet been created. Just over context, like almost every cycle, we have something in the top 10, whether it's a Cardano or, I don't know, a Terra Luna that ends up just making its way out of the top 10. So the question is, one of the top 5 cryptos by 2035. So you have Bitcoin, you have Ethereum, you have XRP, I think BNB, and then Solana. So we're not counting stable coins. there's going to be something by 2035 that's going to take that out. What do you think, Rue?
Okay. The question as written is one of the top 5 cryptos hasn't been created yet, as in like in 2035,
Right.
something will be that hasn't been created yet. I strongly disagree with that.
Okay. Ski?
I would say that I disagree.
All right, Doc?
I'm going to say I agree, just a neutral agree.
All right, I'll slow it down a little bit. All right, Scott?
I'm going to go with I strongly agree on this one.
Strongly agree. All right, Dave?
Yeah, me too. I strongly agree.
All right, I was going to get the gauntlet. The gauntlet's whenever one person strongly disagrees and one person strongly agrees, and we get them on here. But Dave, you definitely jumped in there with Scott. All right, so real quick, I see the polls. You guys are already at it. You're chopping at the bits. You see the question. I don't know, maybe you're smarter than all of us on these questions, but slow down a little bit. Hear these arguments before you take your pick. So real quick, we got Scott, we got Dave. They strongly agree. We got Rue, who strongly disagrees. Rue, you are the first up. Let's go ahead and get your take. Why is one of the top 5 cryptos of 2035 hasn't been created yet? Why do you disagree on that?
I think we haven't had the institutional cycle yet. And when we have it, coins like Canton, XRP, XLM, Ethereum, Solana, like who's pushing them out of the top 5 that hasn't been created yet? And then you could go down the line with things like Robinhood Chain, Lighter, like different things like that, Hyperliquid. What's knocking them out of the top 10, right? And I know you said every year the top 10 has someone come in there, but not the top 5. So I think it's going to be pretty tough once institutions come in, and we kind of already have established institutional chains like Canton, XRP, XLM, and Bitcoin and Ethereum. I really don't think something's going to knock them out of the top 5, even 9 years from now.
Yeah, I think like Canton coin, that token was made like a year ago, I think, or like somewhere.
No, they've been around for like
digital.
It actually
asset,
technically was created July 2024 and was released to retail November of 2025.
Okay.
So right, does that even count? Because digital assets been around for how long? Like 9 years?
2014.
Right. So I mean, that's just an example of something like JP Morgan. I don't know. Somebody throws some token out of nowhere, and it is just, I'm just throwing that out there. But we got 2 other people, Scott and Dave. I want to hear from you guys.
Well,
we'll go Scott first.
So here's the thing. I'm going to throw something at you that's going to throw you for a loop here. I think the entire top 10 of crypto is going to look completely different in 2035, full of tokens and use cases we haven't even heard of yet, because it's not going to be crypto anymore by 2035. It's going to be on-chain finance. There's going to be stuff right now we're not even thinking of. Like I would be willing to bet my mortgage on it.
I mean, perp dexes, these things came out of nowhere, and it just shocked the world. So like every single, AI was pretty big last bull market. Before that was gaming. Every single cycle, there are some pretty big narratives. David, what you got?
So I think that, what could make it into the top 5? What do we not have? We don't have a legit options protocol. There's Derive, which is, kind of a fugazi. I think I'm not convinced that those markets are real on Derive. I think what's going to happen is XRP, will be pushed out of the top 5. And I think that there could very well be some type of institutional coin that makes it in. What if JP Morgan Chase decides that they don't really want to share the plate or the pie with everyone else? And they just say, hey, we're going to launch our own chain. We're going to have a perps dex on there. We're going to have a derivatives and options protocol on there. We're going to have, crypto bonds like a Pendle on there. We're going to have, maybe liquidity provision on there. And we're also going to have the ability for retail to have their consumer deposits on there. All on one chain. They launch their own coin. That would be in the top 3. So I could see plenty of ways how, that top 5 changes. And I think that XRP would be the one to get kicked out. Now, you could also, here's a hot take too, right? You could see Bitcoin fall out from number 1. You really could. Because Bitcoin, let's be honest, you guys, it's a pet rock, man. It doesn't do anything. There's no real utility there. There really isn't. It's extremely decentralized, but dude, like, what does it do?
I'm loving it.
Not
Yeah.
much. So I'm looking for utility and fee generation and value accrual. And Bitcoin has a problem. You need to see covenants and some type of smart contracts on Bitcoin, because you get to 2030. I think it's 2032 actually, where you're going to have 2 more halving cycles by 2032, and then miners won't be incentivized. Is it 2030 or 2032?
2032.
I think it's 2032. By then, it will be less than 1 BTC. I think it'll be 0.7 something BTC. So that's not enough to incentivize miners to keep their machines on and refresh their machines. So there needs to be a source of transaction volume on the layer 1. The layer 2s on Bitcoin are not going to cut it. Lightning's not going to cut it. So I could see Bitcoin falling out of the top 5, to be honest with you. But definitely XRP falls out, I think.
That's the hottest take so far, I think, that you've given, which is very interesting. I'm not here to say that's definitely a possibility. That's for sure. Let's go ahead and get.
Can I retort?
Yeah, you got your rebuttal.
So Bitcoin, I think some large bank, I think it was Banco Santander, they just bought like 12 million Bitcoin, and we know tons and tons of governments hold Bitcoin. Maybe it gets dethroned as number 1, but I don't think it falls out of the top 5 anytime soon. And JP Morgan, we know they're behind consensus. So they kind of already have JP Morgan coin in Ethereum. So I don't know that they're going to try to pull any revenue away from Ethereum. That doesn't make any sense to me. But they might do some stuff with Canton, with Zenith. But
JPM coin's already live on Canton on one of the private subnets.
There you go, with their stable coin. But we know Consensus and JP Morgan have a nice relationship there. So yeah, I don't see anyone.
If Bitcoin was to fall out of the top 5, most likely it's because it shot itself in its own foot with this. Every 4 years it has to double in price. So it's like by 2028 it's going to cost like 150K for it to mine. And if the price isn't well above 150K, why am I going to mine it? And eventually it probably just collapse. So I don't think it's going to go from like 1 to 2. It's probably like 1 all the way to like 0.
Unless the hash rate falls.
Right. So there's a hash rate.
So then we're saying that all these governments like BlackRock, Fidelity, like all of these people are on.
Yeah, I mean,
some of the biggest
if they
organizations in the world, they're all wrong on Bitcoin.
Well, no, what I'm saying is, if it costs 150K like to mine it, and all of them did not buy it, and it's still at like 150K, who's going to mine it for 4 years at just break even? You know what I'm saying? So like,
but Crux, it's worse than that. Like the miner's business model is so horrible. Have you guys taken a look at what it looks like to mine Bitcoin nowadays? I was running some numbers just over the weekend.
I mean, the biggest variable is energy, though.
Yeah,
so
you need free electric.
If they fix that variable, they can save it. But the cost of energy.
Fixed that variable. It was called proof of stake.
We had the proof of work, proof of stake debate, Scott. We can go back. That's another episode for another time. All right, so let's go ahead and get the general consensus real quick. So the statement, if you're just now tuning in, one of the top 5 cryptos by 2035 has not yet been created, and most people actually agree. So that's almost 70%.
I just want to throw this in there too. There's one wild card thing that people aren't paying attention to, and the Genius Act becomes law here very soon. And when that becomes law, you cannot earn yield on stable coins anymore. Tokenized money market funds are going to be the new avenue for cash. It's going to open up new opportunities for new tokens. Just saying.
All righty. Well, definitely some good takes there. Let's go ahead and push this. No, Ski. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to give my take on it, and I had a rebuttal for the Bitcoin thing as well. So if the question was top 10, I would agree, but the gap between 6 and 5 is enormous. And a principle of mine in life is like, it's easy to front run. It's easy to be awesome when everything's awesome, but what are you when life punches you in the mouth? So what are you in a bear market? That's what you really are. And the top 5 have all been through multiple bear markets. And there is like he was saying, there's, vested interest in them doing well. And as far as the Bitcoin goes, even if it's 150K, like I don't think anyone thinks by the end of 2028 that Bitcoin couldn't be well above that. And I think in 2032, if it's 0.1, like I think there's a good chance, because the flip side of it is like, is China going to stop printing money? Is the United States going to stop printing money? Is the euro, the won, is any of the governments going to stop printing money? If we're valuating it in gold, sure, maybe you have an argument. But if we're valuating it in fiat, it's just going to keep going up.
All right, good takes. All right, let's go ahead and jump into question number 9. Someone can have 30% of their portfolio in Bitcoin, 30, and still expect to get a 10x by 2029. So 30% Bitcoin, they're still going for a 10x, no matter how risky that other 70% is. Rue, what you got?
I'll just agree.
All right, Ski,
I would agree.
Doc,
Strongly disagree.
Scott,
I'm going to disagree.
and Dave.
Crux, can I ask just a verification question real quick? So if they've got 30% in Bitcoin, does it matter what they've got the other 70 in?
They could put in anything.
In anything? And expect to get a 10 bagger?
Right.
Oh, strongly disagree. Yeah, strongly disagree.
All right. So 2 people strongly disagree. We have 2 people that just agree. Dave, you sounded the most convicted in that. You said nobody with 70% of their portfolio can get that 10x. Bitcoin, it's going to slow it down. Why, David, do you also agree with that?
Yeah, so I think that if you've got 30% in BTC and then 70% in, cash, let's say that you're just holding cash. Well, okay, great. What do you expect that 30% of your portfolio to do in order for you to be able to get a 10 bagger on the entire thing? You're basically saying that you expect Bitcoin to put in like what? A 25x over the next 4 years? No way. Unrealistic, I would say. Now, if you were to take that other 70% and put it in take your pick of, the high volatility meme coin out there, well, maybe you could hit that 10 bagger. But I think that the premise of the question is, I don't think that we should, at least for me, speaking for myself, I don't think that for me, it's a good idea to try to reach for a 10 bagger, over the course of 3.5 or 4 years. I think that is a horrible way to approach investing in digital assets, because it's going to make you reach. You're going to reach for the what if coins of the world. And you're going to end up losing 70% of your portfolio. And then, you might even be lucky if you break even holding the 30% of Bitcoin. So, yeah, man, I would go for maybe a 3 bagger. Could you achieve a 3 or a 4x return by holding Bitcoin? I think that's possible. I wouldn't reach for the 10x though.
Good take.
Can I echo some of that really quick?
Yeah.
I did some math on this because I very much agree with you, David. You don't need a 10x. If you take $10,000 and you double it 7 times, you're a millionaire. You don't need to do that all in one cycle either. I did some really quick math. If 30% of your bag does a 4x, i.e. Bitcoin does a 4x, the remaining 70% of your portfolio would need to do over a 12.5x. And we're not talking about a 10 bagger on your phone and screenshots. We're talking about a 10 bagger where you deposit that money into USDC and you take it home out of the casino. So let's take this example a little bit farther. 30% of your bag does a 4x. Let's say 20% of your bag, you put in a safer altcoin and you get a 6x out of it. Maybe Solana or Sui or Caspa, 20% of that bag does a 6x. The remaining 50% of your bag would need to do a 15x. Can you get a 15x out of a couple projects? Maybe. But are you going to hit that on 50%? I don't think it's possible. And like David said, I echo him. You don't need a 10x to make life-changing money. You only have to double $10,000 7 times. Do that over a decade. It doesn't need to be done in 3 years.
Very interesting takes. Now, you threw Solana in there, and you said 6x. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that think Solana would get to $1,000, for example. It could get as low as $50. I'm not saying it's going to 20x, but if somebody was to expect Solana to get to $500 after buying it at 50, I don't think that's ludicrous, but I don't know.
It could be. It absolutely could be. I will also say those same people said that Solana was going to go to $1,000 last cycle as well, right? We all saw that thumbnail on Twitter.
But it also did over 10x.
It
last
did
night.
also do over 10x. Now, if Solana falls back down to $8 again, yeah, I would totally agree. I just don't see it going below 40. I could be wrong. I'd be happy to eat my words. I own a lot of Solana.
Sure. Great takes, by the way.
The question isn't can you get a 10x? The question is should you expect a 10x in your investment? And the answer is no. You should not expect a 10x. You just shouldn't. You're going to set yourself up for failure.
All right. I think we've beat this one. Also, nobody, even in the poll, says agree. So everybody says nobody should expect to be able to 10x their portfolio with 30% in Bitcoin. So I'm glad people are paying attention. Now, let's go to number 10. And by the way, if you throw a super chat in there for 11, we'll definitely get that. But there hasn't been one yet. So question number 10 is fun. GTA 6, who doesn't like games, is making a major mistake by not adding crypto to gaming. I looked into this briefly. They're not, maybe because it's the Clarity Act, I don't know, but they're not going to incorporate crypto from the launch, which is happening in like November. They're making a mistake, I think. But Rue, what do you think? You might be muted.
No, I'm not. I disagree.
All right, Ski.
Are they making a mistake? I would disagree.
Doc?
Strongly disagree.
Strongly disagree. All right, Scott. Scott?
I'll strongly agree.
Okay. And then Dave.
Yeah, they're making a major mistake by not integrating crypto into GTA 6. I strongly agree.
All right, so Dave and Scott, y'all think alike. Y'all are always on the same team. Doc, hey, they're trying to jump you, bro.
Oh, I'm ready.
Let's. If you're ready, you got the floor. It is yours.
I'm excited for this one. So I think the real, if we were to boil this down, find the common denominator, we don't know that Take-Two Entertainment, ticker symbol TTWO. Yes, I own a ton of Take-Two Leaps that I bought when it was $200. We don't know that crypto is not going to be involved in GTA 6. What is Take-Two, right? The question is GTA 6 making a mistake? So is Take-Two making a mistake? A, we don't know if crypto is not going to be implemented. Second of all, Take-Two's main goal is to increase revenue and increase EPS, their margin, right? They can do that without crypto, right? Last cycle, GTA 5, they sold something called Card Sharks. Okay, right. I have a second channel where I cover GTA. I might have to drop that in the comments. They make the majority of their money for people buying these, for lack of a better term, they're like gift cards that you can use in the GTA ecosystem. So A, we don't know if they're using it or not. And B, their whole thing is to drive revenue. Now, yes, I say as someone who makes content regarding crypto, I think without question, crypto is the move, right? Faster, more efficient, cheaper, more transparent, all of the things. But we don't know it's happening. And B, they're still going to make boatloads of money, whether they use crypto or not, right? This was going to be the biggest game launched in history ever. And they are going to do billions of dollars in revenue. I hope they incorporate crypto, but they don't need to. And again, I'm really stressing this. We don't know if they are or not.
Right. And that's why I threw that out there. Just for the launch, we know that they're not going to be like MetaMask wallets, that you can connect. So I want to hear y'all's take, David and Scott. Scott first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Well, first off, I made a note. I love you, Doc, but your first take's not relevant. Because if they have it, if they don't have it, if they have it in the game, then the question's not relevant. So I mean that part doesn't really count. But two, you're right. I agree with you. Their job is to make the most amount of revenue possible. And having crypto in the game is absolutely the best way to do that. If you just look at the culture of the gamers involved, meme culture is gaming. Cypherpunk culture is gaming. I worked at GameStop as a store manager
Gamers
for 6
hate
years.
crypto and
Believe
NFT.
me, I know the people
Gamers
who walk
hate
through that
crypto
door.
and NFT. I don't want to interrupt you, but gamers hate crypto and NFT. Dr. Disrespect tried to do this, revolted against it. Take-Two, they do not want to tarnish their reputation, right? If there is any hint of crypto hurting their reputation, why would they put it in? Because they already have billions of dollars in the bank with the pre-sale. Their earnings is this week, so let's stay tuned for it. But there's no way. There's no way they're incorporating crypto here.
To have their
Doc is
own
cooking.
crypto economic thing tied to GTA, that is the most lucrative thing I can possibly think of for a game.
Yes, could be, but gamers hate crypto. Do you disagree with that?
So package it
that's mainly the
differently.
GPU.
100% they
That's
do.
because the GPUs. That's because the hardware, like crypto, basically makes it hard to get DDR. You know,
Yeah, I
like,
mean, yeah, the RAM. Yeah.
They hate crypto.
Because of
they
hardware.
absolutely hate it
They
for
hate
whatever
crypto
reason.
but the thing, like gamers, like exclusive items that you have to unlock. Like NFTs are very gamer related.
Without question. But they
Yeah.
hate the fact that specifically crypto is implemented in the game, right?
Sure. Okay, Dave.
Yeah, sure. So I don't think that they're going to integrate crypto into the game simply because, I mean, look, AML, KYC stuff, it would be a regulatory, tax, and legal nightmare for Take-Two Interactive. But should they integrate crypto into the game? Yeah, because look, we're talking about a modern crime narrative, right? So I think that would fit crypto pretty well. Everyone likes to say that it's used for money laundering. I don't agree with that, but I think they would fit into the narrative pretty well. You could have true digital asset ownership, which would be so cool. Imagine being able to own via NFTs the assets in game. That would be awesome,
And
right?
it's tradable.
I mean, to be fair, so all of this has already existed in games. So if I trade somebody, I don't need like a TPS from a blockchain. It's just pixels for pixels. So there's no way a blockchain is going to be faster than a game because it's literally it's pixels, as opposed to it has to settle in real time and somebody's paying a fee somewhere. I don't know.
But what you're talking about, smart contract, to where you're assigning ownership and value to something in a game that's transferable.
Yeah, I think
where
that's the
blockchain
interesting
becomes
part.
Included.
That's the interesting part because like if you have an account and it like a skin is tied to it, at that point, like you have to sell the account as opposed to you could just sell the NFT of the skin. So I agree with you. There's definitely some use cases there. But your boy Ski, the floor is yours. He has a take that we probably haven't heard yet.
Well, I just think you just go back to the fundamentals of entrepreneurship, and it's like Doc already said, they don't need to. For number one, they're going to make billions and billions of dollars, and they're not a Fortune 500 company, but they're as close to it as you can possibly be as like a gaming company. And so you add lots of risk when you're adding something that is not your main thing. So you got to keep, as an entrepreneur, you keep the main thing of your business, the main thing, and that's what keeps you profitable for the longest amount of time. And, you know, especially with crypto, with the Clarity Act not passing, it's a ginormous risk for them to add that to their game when there's not regulatory clarity at this point. So could they? Would it be awesome? That would be great. But should they at this stage of the game? No, they should not.
I kind of think that's what they were waiting for was the Clarity Act, and they just noticed maybe this thing doesn't pass. Rue, you have another take.
Yeah, I spoke to the former head of marketing of Scale. If you guys are not familiar with Scale, they're partly invested in by Consensus, and they have Epic Games on their platform. And basically, what he said was kind of what David echoed: is, hey, we don't have regulatory clarity right now. People think that games like Activision and stuff, they're not looking into this. They are, but once, because Trump wasn't elected at the time, he's like, once regulatory clarity happens, you could see something like that. Activision or Epic Games, they have billions and billions of dollars. They can just throw developers at it and get it done real fast. So yeah, that's it.
Right. All right. We got some really good takes. We were not able to waver the audience in any way. 100% of the people said they strongly agree that GTA is making a mistake. So we just had a super chat coming in for question number 11. So again, every single time you guys can throw a super chat for number 11, and we will stay this extra question. Let's go ahead and get that thrown up on the screen. We got BB Beast Mode. Question number 11, the crypto community will end up celebrating Donald Trump bigly by 2029. I got to add a little context. He came into office, actually a day before office. He launches a meme coin, and it kind of changed a lot of things. We're supposed to be winning so much that we are tired of it. And, I just don't know. But we need to see what Rue thinks about this first. The crypto community will end up celebrating. He has a couple more years to fix what's going on. Rue, what you got?
I definitely think that the crypto community will end up celebrating it. I know the whole thing about the meme coin and all of that, but again, if you look at ISO cryptos, they went up 6 to 10x when he took office. Ripple ended their case. Genius was passed. Things like lending platforms for stable coins were enacted. Like Genius was passed. Like there's so much stuff as far as infrastructure that's been put into place. And I think we see that all come into fruition around 27, 28. So I think people by 29, they'll be real happy.
Okay. So that's you strongly agree. Gotcha. So we'll go ahead and we'll do this last one like that. You can say strongly agree, whatever, and then give your whole take, and then we'll move to the next person. Ski, what you got?
All right, so I'm going to strongly disagree if the year is 29. And Crux already knows a little bit about why I think that. If the year is 28, the year is 27, I think they're going to strongly agree. But if the year specifically is 29, I disagree. And the reason is because of the 7-year cycle, which me and Crux went into really, really deeply, but without giving you guys like a huge, long history lesson. Essentially, the traditional markets are on a 7-year, and just generally every 7 years we go into a recession. I think in 2029, we will be in some sort of economic recession, whether it's the AI bubble busting or whatever the case may be. So my hot take is I don't think we're going to be peaking in 29. I think it's going to be peaking in 28.
All right. Also, Rue is your guy in terms of like icons and like things that mean certain things. So whenever we did that 4-year cycle versus 7-year debate, like you brought up a lot of things like the year of the X or these other things. Rue, that's what he definitely. So y'all definitely need to collab on that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Invest with Doc. What you got? You might be muted.
Doc.
Yeah.
Oh, apologize. I just want to say apologize, Scott. I interrupted your last question. That's my bad. I'm going to say crypto doesn't need a Democrat. It doesn't need a Republican. It's going to continue forward no matter what. I have strong opinions on politics and religion, but those are two things that I try not to talk a whole lot about. So I'm just going to stay neutral on this one.
All right. So we'll just go agree. Scott, what you got?
The news cycle will move on. They'll forget about Trump. And I say that in the sense that right now everyone's talking about it and they're going to get blamed by it. But, a year before this happens, there'll be a different narrative. Something else will come up. If crypto does great, someone else will get the flowers. And if crypto tanks even worse, someone else will get that brunt as well. They'll be off Trump by then.
All right. So you basically disagree. People are just going to move on. And
they're
then
just going to dismiss it. Yeah.
Sure. Dave.
Man, I really dislike what Trump did with that meme coin a day before taking the oath of office. That was horrible. But will he be celebrated bigly by 2029? America. I certainly hope so, man. Like, I would love to see, total crypto market cap run up and put in a 10-bagger on the market cap. I want to see it go from 2-point-something trillion to 20 trillion, man. And if Trump ends up getting celebrated along the way, so be it. So I would love to see us all perform extremely well. And hey, you know what? If a politician gets some of the credit, doesn't matter as long as my bag's pumped, man. So yeah, I'm going to agree. And I would like to see it too.
All right. Well, there you have it. Now, the idea of the show is to get the verdict, right? It's called Crypto Verdict. I know right up there it says Coin Vault. We're running through some things. Right now, we're going to bring Rob on stage. It's going to look a little wonky with, the settings. Bear with us. We're still in beta. So the idea is to get Rob to essentially kind of give his overall take of everything. Welcome in, Rob. Let us know. What's the verdict, Rob?
Well, do you just want the straight up verdict, or do you want my PowerPoints here?
Let's do both.
Because I thought there was a lot of good points. Ski really brought up some good points when it came to Uniswap. I really liked that. He also brought up some great points with I can't read my own writing. I'll get back to it anyway. Tops and bottoms, that's what it was. Brought up a great point on the catalyst for tops and bottoms, how they're always seem to mark them, and they're designed to scare people or give people FOMO. and it's all just manipulation. Great points there as well. And then also, David, Doc, and Ski all brought up great points about Sailor. Dave, I really like the 4-year cycle stuff he was talking about there. Scott had to go ahead and 8 Mile Rue. That was pretty good. But Rue fought back, right? Rue won the XRP battle, 8 Mile style, I said. Dave, again, I like the trifecta point when it came to fundamentals, absolutely. Rue, you had some great MJ points as well, man. Got to go with that. Dave and Rue both with the XLM to 0 battle. Guys are pushing water up a hill on that one. Scott defends Canton really well. I like that. Designed for him, right? And he may have swung your boy Ski a little bit there to look deeper into it, right? So very good argument. And then also, that's about it. So for me, like, it was pretty close. I think it was close between Ski, Scott, and Rue. Everybody had great points, but I mean, I think Rue picked some tough battles and he was fighting uphill. So I got to give it to him this time.
All right. Yeah, I think David fudded Uniswap just a little too long. So I think that's what it was. Rue, the floor is yours. What you got for the audience?
Well, I'm really happy about what 2027 is going to bring, guys. Like, regardless if the market goes a little bit lower, I think, and you've echoed this sometimes, Crux as well, I think it's a great time for people to buy, setting up into 2027, 2028. It's interesting what your boy Ski was saying about 29, because that is the 100-year anniversary of the 2029 stock market crash. And I just did a show on a 100-year cycle. So it'd be kind of interesting if we had a crash then, right? So maybe 27 and 28 are the years to take advantage of this and get ready to, take some profits before 29.
All right. All right. There we go. All right. So appreciate y'all. This is still a beta. This is our 4th episode. We're going to bring this every Monday and also every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Maybe next time or pretty soon, we're going to actually have a devoted channel for this. And we most importantly want to focus, this is a nonprofit. This is all about crypto education and just getting our voices out to the world. So if you guys have any content creators you want to see, throw them in the comments, tag them, let them know this exists. And we are the next faces of cryptocurrency here on YouTube. So appreciate that. That being said, you guys have a blessed week.